Welcome back to 52 at 52, and welcome to job number one. I'm going to try to do these in order. So, consecutive. So this is like the first job I had. Some of them get a little bit confusing, but for right now, all you have to worry about is that this is job number one. And Ford says job number one is quality. I would beg to differ. I would say that job number one, for me at least, is sales. Door-to-door sales. Specifically door-to-door sales. I got my start in door-to-door sales through the scouting program. Steven Spielberg, he was a scout, and he got into movie making, made lots of movies, made Jaws, 1941, Schindler's List, Jurassic Park, all from, starting off with getting a merit badge in scouts. I, on the other hand, did scout fundraising, and we had to go door to door selling these little tickets. They were these tickets that you would sell to this scouting event where you would lash stuff, and I don't know it was like Scoutorama. Hey, when you want to buy this ticket to this event that you don't want to go to, and also is there any good deed that I can do, because a scout does a good deed daily, and so they're like, yeah, can you take out my trash? Armed with that kind of fire for door to door sales, I decided to make some money and go door-to-door selling stuff. Now, my first inclination to doing this was lemonades, right? I mean, I see kids have their lemonade stands. The street I grew up on, it would get about 4 cars a day going past it. I would go door-to-door selling lemonade, like, hey, here I am. Here's some lemonade. You want some lemonade? Pour them a little Dixie cup, hand it to them. That'll be 25 cents or whatever, a dime. In the back of again, with Scouts, they had this magazine called Boy's Life, and in the back, they had these advertisements. You could sell stuff, and you could win cash and prizes. And I would submit to you that there are no two better words in the English language than cash and prizes. I guess that's 3 words if we count the and. So you're getting cash, and you're getting prizes, and the prizes were like basketballs or bikes, or, helicopters, some sort of remote helicopter thing. I don't know. They were just great. And so I decided to sell. You had to make a decision. There were 2 main things you would sell. One was seeds, like for your garden, and the other one was greeting cards. Now, I chose greeting cards. To this day, I don't even know what a greeting card is. And why would you want to sell those door to door? I mean, because of course everybody uses greeting cards. I, being 9 or 10, had never used a greeting card. Obviously, it's like happy birthday, happy anniversary, thank yous, and stuff like that. In case you didn't know what greeting cards were. So when I got the package, I was like, oh, that's what I'm selling. Okay, maybe I should have done seeds. I borrowed some money from my dad to buy this package of greeting cards. And he was like, I don't know. I'm not sure if this is such a good idea. I'm like, oh no, Dad, I'm going to make tons of money. I'm going to get cash and prizes. And I think even he was a little like taken in by the cash and prizes thing. And then you would just go around to the neighborhood and you would knock on the door and say, hey, would you like to buy some greeting cards? And people would say naturally, no. It was a rough go, like any sort of door-to-door sales situation. It was a bit of a rough go. But I sold some. Those boxes would sit over in the corner, and I'd come home from school, and it would be like a beautiful fall day. And I'm like, oh, man, I should get beautiful fall day. And I would like, oh, I just want to hang out with my friends, or I want to just, sit around. But I should really be getting out there and selling those cards. Anchor around my neck and walk in. There's the cards. Like having an angry ghost of greeting cards sitting over in your corner. You should sell me. I would sell them. It was rough. I didn't enjoy it. Now that wasn't my only experience with door-to-door sales. Cut to 10 years later, I'm in college. And again, it's a fundraising thing, and we're selling these little coupon books. This next door-to-door sales experience is one of those experiences where you remember the experience, but not how you got there. I have no memory of what group I was fundraising it for or why I was even doing it. I'm sure there was no cash and prizes involved. That much I'm pretty sure of. We had this guy, and he would like, okay, here's how do you sell door to door. I'm like, oh, okay, good. I haven't sold door to door since a greeting card, and I didn't do really good. I'm ready to learn. And they had two pieces of advice that I remember, and one was really good, and one was not so great. First one was, He said you had to sell with enthusiasm. And then he wrote the word enthusiasm up on this whiteboard. And then the last letters of enthusiasm are I, A, S, and M. And he underlines those and he says, this means I am sold myself. It means that you believe in the product so much that you would get it. Greeting cards, I wasn't sold myself. I didn't really believe in greeting cards as a concept. Still don't. I mean, I understand people like them, but for me, it's like jewelry. I just don't. It's a concept that just, I don't get it. Greeting cards and jewelry. The bad advice this guy gave was, he said, when you stand at the door, have your back to the door so that when they open the door, you're not like in their face. But in reality, if you've ever answered a door and someone's got their back to you, it's very unnerving. You're like, do they have a gun? Or do they have a water balloon? What is going on back there? I understand the not so in your face part, but not having your back, that's not a good idea. Since then, if I've ever had to stand at a door and knock on the door, I find myself doing like a kind of a half profile. So I'm not threatened like in their face. But also, I'm not like, oh, yeah, and by the way. So I have this kind of like, oh, yes, oh, you just happened to answer the door. Fantastic, it's good to see you. Would you like to buy a coupon book for pizzas? Another thing that that experience taught me was, and actually this one sunk a little bit deeper, was it was at college, and so you would be knocking on doors, and there'd be like 6 girls in an apartment building. Hey, I want to buy some coupons. Yeah, woohoo, crazy. There was also interspersed with this some like married housing, some married couples in there. And you'd knock on the door, and you go from like 6 guys or 6 girls and just party central on a Tuesday, and you'd knock on this door in this married student housing thing, and you would go in there, and it would just be silence, and there'd be a couch with like an Afghan on it, and it's the couple, and they're having dinner, and they're a little bit overweight, and they're still your age, like maybe a couple years older than you, but they look like they're 50, and you're like, whoa, this is what it's like to be married? No thanks. I just like had that visceral reaction, but it wasn't until I was kind of thinking about this project, I'm like, oh, maybe that's why I had such ambivalent feelings about getting married, because of that door-to-door sales experience. I don't know. And door-to-door salesmen, that has a long history for like centuries. Door-to-door sales was awesome. Like a tinker would come in and he'd knock on your door and he's like, hey, I can fix your shoes and I can sharpen all your knives, and do you need any pots and pans? And whoever was home, it was usually like the mom was at home taking care of the kids because the dad's out farming. She's like, oh, finally somebody to talk to who's an adult, and oh my gosh, you can sharpen my knives, and this is the best thing ever. But then as time progresses, the door-to-door salesman starts selling you things maybe you don't need, like an encyclopedia or a bunch of Bibles or some brushes, like the Fuller Brush Man comes in and says, or Avon. Remember, Avon used to be huge. People make tons of money with Avon. Here's some makeup, and they get to chat and have a little makeover, and it was fantastic. And I think that stuff still goes on. Mary Kay, I think that stuff still goes on. But it's more like a group thing. Anyway, not so much the door-to-door hardcore. Yeah. The downsides of the demise of door-to-door salesmen is we've become more insular. We're not as friendly. We're feeling a little bit threatened. When someone comes to your door wanting to sell you stuff, it's a bit threatening. Partly because it's stuff that you don't really want. Because the stuff you want, you go onto the computer and it's like, boom, yeah, this stuff will come to my house. It's even better. Like greeting cards, if like, oh, I can buy greeting cards in bulk, I'll do that online. I mean, yeah, it would be great if some little 10-year-old kid came and sold these to me, but that's not happening, so I guess I'll have to go onto the computer and get these things. Now, I never paid my dad back from that money that he fronted me. You gave me the money, and then I bought the stuff and I sold it, and then what, I have to give you some of that money back? I spent it. I spent it all. I spent it on candy and like movies and comic books, mostly just comic books and candy. And I never paid my dad back. There's lots of big corporations that have learned from me. Like Walmart, you sell them their product, they take you 6 months. They've sold it like 4 times. And then they're like, oh yeah, we'll pay you back. At least they paid back. I never paid my dad back. So sorry, Dad, for not paying you back. And actually, he kind of never let me forget that. Remember that time that you sold greeting cards and didn't pay me back? I'm like, yeah, let's do that again. That worked out pretty good for me. So thanks for listening, and come back next week when we'll have episode 2, job number 2. I'm not going to tell you what it is. because I'm not sure right off the top of my head. I have to check my list. Again, that list is like, oh my gosh, it's really long. So thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed this little story about my first job, door-to-door sales. Please subscribe and tell your friends about it, and open up multiple accounts on YouTube so you can subscribe many times. No, don't do that, but I'm being silly. But subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you next time here at 52 at 52. Actually, you'll see me, but I won't see you. I just see this camera, which is kind of cool. It's very private right here. All right. Did I cover everything? Selling you stuff you don't want.